Tonight on CTV, Black History Month is here. See how CSU kicked off the festivities.
Then later in the show, see how ASCSU is making a difference in the U.S. Supreme Court.
All this and more, tonight on CTV. Good evening, Rams. I'm JJ McKinney.
And I'm Emma Askren, filling in for Naomi Hilmer.
The teenager who fatally stabbed a 50-year-old man last July has been sentenced to over 40 years in prison. The now 17-year-old Vicky Swallen stabbed 58-year-old Todd Stout underneath a bridge near the intersection of Harmony Road and Mason Street. Stout had recently moved to Fort Collins and was living under the bridge while working on his sobriety. According to the coroner's office, Stout had multiple stab wounds and was most likely lying down when he was initially attacked. Swallen pleaded guilty last August and was sentenced to 44 years in prison last Friday.
Rick Miranda has stepped down from office, and Amy Parsons has officially become the new president of Colorado State University as of Wednesday morning. CSU students were woken up by 2 emails announcing Miranda's departure and a note of gratitude from Parsons as she described her plans in the coming weeks as the university undergoes a power transition. Parsons plans to spend her first weeks of office communicating with faculty and students on financial and social issues as she fills critical leadership roles in her administration. On Friday, Parsons planned to go to the Board of Governors meeting in Pueblo to speak about student issues such as the graduate student compensation debate. While Parsons is in office, Miranda will continue to serve as interim executive vice president until Parsons' administration finds a permanent hire.
The pilot who almost took his plane for a swim in Horsetooth last September has been charged with 11 misdemeanors. The pilot, Ahmed Al-Qada, crashed his Cessna 172 Skyhawk plane next to Horsetooth Reservoir after almost colliding with several boats. This past month, it was determined that there was no mechanical errors in the plane. And according to eyewitnesses, Al-Qada was flying erratically. A warrant has been released for Al-Qada's arrest. However, he left the country soon after the crash and has not returned. He faces 5 counts of menacing and 6 counts of reckless endangerment.
Clapping and cheering could be heard from the ASCSU Senate chamber yesterday evening after the Senate came to a consensus on the Indian Child Welfare Letter. The Indian Child Welfare Act, also known as ICWA, is a federal law established in 1978 to protect Indigenous children from being removed from their families and placed into non-Indigenous homes or residential schools. These residential schools have killed thousands of Indigenous children before the establishment of ICWA. Now, 45 years later, ICWA is being threatened by the Supreme Court. The Associated Students of Colorado State University were presented with a letter to the Supreme Court urging not to overturn ICWA.
I had written this letter along with Rasa, and Rasa is our student success coordinator. So we created this letter in collaboration with working with other universities across the United States. And basically I've been working alongside with President Long and getting in contact and communicating with those universities. So basically I'm just asking for ASCSU's endorsement on this letter.
After a 20-minute debate and discussion period, the votes were unanimous and the bill passed. The letter will now officially be endorsed by ASCSU.
Is there any dissent to passing this piece of legislation? Seeing none, this bill passes.
The Associated Students of Colorado State University now has documentation that they have taken action on this national issue.
Well, Rams, it's that time of year. Black History Month is finally upon us. A month that celebrates the culture, joy, and achievements that the Black and African American community brings to the world as they celebrate their heritage. And now, the Black African American Cultural Center is hoping to kick off the month with a bang.
Voices are singing and people are laughing. Black History Month has begun. In a predominantly white institution like CSU, where the Black student population is only around 2%, the need for community and unity for students is always present.
One of these big events that we put on throughout the year where we really want to just celebrate Blackness.
A CSU student herself, BAC member Jasmine Rutland knows about the struggles that come with being a black student.
Black History Month is definitely a time of just like reflecting, reconnecting with myself of what I believe Black History Month is, what blackness is, recognizing not just the struggles but the triumphs as well.
The kickoff was filled with a variety of events, from living statues of civil rights activists, poetry, and the music. Black pride was on full display.
It's really just an opportunity for us to get together, celebrate the month, and really just kick off a bunch of the different events that we have going on throughout the month.
The Black History Month kickoff is just the start to annual festivities of the back office, all with one goal: to make black students feel at home.
The back office is, again, a place of community. It's a place of love and understanding. It means a lot to me to be able to, help out other students and then see the turnout and see how black students are impacted by this and how they come together.
I think the back office has really just been a positive, inspiring, encouraging, obnoxious place where I can feel be in community and feel family.
The back office will be doing multiple events all month long to celebrate the culture and heritage of a beautiful people. The office is located in the cultural centers of the Laurie Student Center and is open to anyone who needs to see black pride, love, and joy. You know, I'm just so glad that we go to a university that's able to really share all of that culture and share all of this during this time of year.
Yeah, I definitely can see how CSU is really trying hard to make sure that everyone feels welcomed here, and it's clear to see that the back office is really trying their hardest and doing a really good job putting on a bunch of different events this month.
I know, and it was so fun. I mean, dancing, food, great music, some of the best singers I've ever heard. It was a really great time. I really enjoyed it.
It looks like a blast, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now we're gonna pass the ball over to Leah Kikowski, here to tell you about today's women's basketball game. Leah.
Thanks, guys. And yeah, it's weird to think that just 12 days ago, CSU was battling undefeated UNLV for top of the Mountain West. Now, after falling in that one and dropping the past two, the Rams find themselves on a 3-game skid and 4 back in the conference. Thankfully, though, Colorado State's next foe would be league bottom feeder Utah State. And I must say, the festivities started at a weird time, 11 a.m. earlier today. But that wasn't an oddity at all, because it was Education Day at Moby, with so many kids in attendance. The rowdy youngsters from Poudre School District created a home court advantage like no other. Do kids ever get tired? It was screams and shouts for 2 full hours. And perhaps it annoyed the Aggies a little bit, because the game wasn't competitive at all. CSU dominated throughout, amassing 13 total 3-pointers. They only attempted 25 from beyond the arc, which means a 52% clip. Outstanding. Every player contributed, and it led to a lopsided 86-64 victory for the green and gold. I'm going to be honest, I doubt the kids knew what was happening half of the time, but that's the luxury of being a kid, isn't it? So carefree. It was such a cool and fun atmosphere, and I'm glad the Rams were able to make the most of it, and that's all I have for you right now. But stick around, because we'll be right back with Adam Carlson to give you the weather rundown. And stay tuned for more sporting news later in the show.
Good evening, Rams. My name is Adam Carlson, and I'm here to give you your weather rundown for the week. The past few days have been a very nice change of pace with hotter weather, but will it keep up? Looking at current conditions, 27 degrees and cloudy out with humidity at 70 degrees. But this winter, Colorado has been abnormally cold. Although winter is now heating up, places like Denver hit a record of having 0 60-degree weather days this January for the first time in 13 years. While the answer is not very plain, we can just hope things to normalize soon. For overnight lows, we're going to see in the Eastern Plain, it's a bit more messy than normal. Denver hitting 12 degrees, Pueblo even at 16, and then the rest all in those 10s. Once we head over to that Eastern Plain, we're going to see good old Craig at -8 and Gunnison at -14. Very glad I'm not there. But tomorrow, things are going to heat up. 46 in Fort Collins and down that I-25 corridor, heating up all the way to 60 degrees. The Eastern Plain also in those 30s and 40s, with Lamar hitting us with 51. And the Eastern Plain, Craig at 29, and Gunnison still at a -5. But for tomorrow, what can you expect? It's going to be 46 as our high and 28 as our low, continuing that nice trend going forwards. Humidity at 52%, a little more than today, and a little bit of wind with sunset at 5:20. Now, looking at the rest of the week, we're going to see 40s all across the board, with Saturday and Monday both being cloudy, keeping us back where we've been the past few days as such a relief. I cannot handle another 0-degree day. And that brings me to the end of your weather for you all tonight. But Max Dietz is here to tell you how students are feeling about Clark's new renovations. Max?
Thanks, Adam. Last year, Colorado State University announced that it will be renovating one of the oldest and most used buildings on campus, the Andrew G. Clark Building.
The Clark Building is a historical building on campus, but that history has started to show. This week, architects for the building's upcoming remodel reached out to students for their input.
We've just started the project. We're just kind of in the very beginning where we just want to get feedback and hear from students and faculty and staff. They really influence the project. They help keep the project on track. It's just something CSU does on projects like this that it really helps influence the design and how it feels, that they're about getting feedback from students and faculty and staff.
Students pointed out areas of Clark they enjoyed, as well as areas that are often congested. Students also got to discuss possible classroom changes for the remodel. Travis Bostic emphasized the impact of student involvement in this process.
Huge, yeah, huge. I mean, I think it's what makes CSU buildings feel unique, and it's what makes them feel, you know, like what makes biology feel like biology, and, you know, Warner feel like Warner, and chemistry feel like chemistry. That layer and that integration of student and faculty and staff feedback helps these buildings kind of have a heart and have a soul and feel individual and feel unique and serve the students and faculty and staff better because they were a part of that input and feedback.
Hopefully, once this project is done, the Clark Building can be a building students are proud of.
Really just here to listen today and hear what people love about Clark, don't like about it, and see where this project can go.
According to CSU, 99% of students have at least one class in Clark. With student and faculty input, the university hopes to make Clark a building where students feel more at home. Back to you guys.
Colorado State University has done it again. This year marks CSU's demonstration of world-renowned sustainable practices for the 4th year in a row. This comes after the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education approved CSU's submission. This puts CSU with the second highest sustainability score in the country, only behind University of California, Irvine. The university was able to achieve this goal even after the COVID-19 pandemic scrambled the university's operations for the past 3 years. CSU states that with sustainability-focused majors and minors, a strong focus on food security, and plans to help carbon emissions, the university hopes to keep moving to a cleaner future. Now, live in the studio, we have Ali Niaz, here to talk about why we love the buildings we love.
Thanks, JJ. Do you have a favorite building on campus? Have you ever thought about why that building is your favorite? Well, I asked students around campus for their favorite building, and I took a deep dive into the psychology and interior design aspects as to why some students have a favorite building here at CSU.
There are a total of 696 buildings on campus, and I was curious to find out which one was the most popular and why.
My favorite building would have to be the stadium.
Currently, I would say it's Clark A.
The behavioral science building.
It feels very snug, very cozy.
I feel like it's light and airy.
Naturally, I also asked them about their least favorite buildings on campus, and I got some surprising answers.
Clark.
Yeah, I was going to say Clark too.
I'll probably say Clark C.
Probably Clark.
It just feels like a little too cluttered.
It's just kind of musty and old.
I remember in my undergrad feeling kind of cramped in the basement.
Yeah, it's just not a great atmosphere, you know.
To dig a bit deeper, I went to Professor Cami Stutzman to find out more about interior design in classrooms.
When you have light involved, it really can make a difference in productivity, in the way that the students feel in the classroom. Being able to see outside increases your productivity. Being able to look at nature views helps students to feel refreshed, even professors to feel refreshed.
Finally, I asked her about some studying tips.
Some of the more bluish colored lights that you get, they actually can help you to be a little bit more awake and a little bit more alert, but oftentimes we really like to have kind of the warmer colored lights, and that actually kind of triggers you to get into more of a relaxed state. So if you're trying to study, you may want a little bit more of the blue or neutral light, and they say if it comes over your left shoulder, you actually do better on tests and studying.
Just so you guys know, the Behavioral Sciences building is my favorite building because of everything Professor Stutzman said, the natural light and greenery. Back to you guys.
Now, many of us have been walking to class or getting into work freezing, chilling to the bone temperatures. But that's not going to stop a lot of Fort Collins community members from cycling around town on Winter Bike to Work Day. The event, which is scheduled to take place on the morning of February 10th, will be led by FC Moves, Fort Collins' Transportation and Planning Department. Over 100 local businesses have signed up to sponsor the event, which will have over 50 free breakfast stations for participants. The event will close with a ceremony full of celebrations, including awards for bicycle-friendly businesses, live music, and bike giveaways. Even local school districts are having their students participate in the festivities. Stick around, because after this break, we'll have Madeline and Leah here in the studio with a super fun sports segment for you.